Okay, so I am Andrea Donnelly. For those of you who are new to my energy forecasts, I do one of these every month. I often end up doing them mid-month. There's something about the energy of this like time, this point in each month that tends to work well. And when I feel really inspired to share with you all of the things that are coming through, I am a quantum sound and energy healer, an ascension and abundance activator. I am a spiritual mentor, and I work with really visionary, spiritually minded people who are looking to activate a really deep level of personal growth, of profound healing. It's been very interesting. I'm a couple years into doing my business at this point, but for those of you who are familiar with my journey, I have been on a metaphysical path since I was a child. And starting at 17, I learned how to meditate. A few years after that, I fell further down the rabbit hole, as it were, from a metaphysical perspective. I have studied Reiki, all kinds of different energy healing, herbal medicine, flower essences, the Akashic records. I've really leaned into a very personal deep dive. I often say that I, amassed a PhD in spirituality over the course of both this and all of the lifetimes that I've lived. And I have carried these gifts that I have, which involve being able to really see very far into the future from a collective perspective, like our group timeline. And also when I work with people one-on-one or in group setting, it's amazing because I'm able to see really the gifts, the enormity of what your soul was created by source to carry into both this and other lifetimes. And I see things about you that are, oh my gosh, Emily, sorry, I just was like cut myself off mid-sentence because I got so excited. Hi, honey. Oh, it's so nice. Thank you. Yes, I feel really radiant right now. It feels really, there's something so powerful about this month. And I'm not gonna lie, right? If you are listening to this, then you are a human who is on earth right now. The past month has been really intense. It's been evocative. I know a lot of people, both in my personal and professional life, who haven't necessarily like felt well, myself included. The first week of January, I got hit by a really, we'll say, deep cleanse on a physical level. But the thing that my guides showed me while I was going through it, and what I have tapped into energetically in terms of clients, is if you are being met by, some sort of like needing a higher level of rest or nourishment, or yeah, oh, that's beautiful. Fully wintering. I love that, Emily. Yeah, fully wintering, right? This is the time of year, if you're in the northern hemisphere, right? It's cold. And it's interesting because if you're in the southern hemisphere, you get the opposite. From a polarity perspective, it's warm. But it's interesting because from a vibrational perspective, it's the same, if that makes sense. Like, we all experience different things, but that like sense of maybe needing to go inward. Like, I remember years ago having a friend of mine mention something about the summertime that I thought was so interesting, where she was like, everybody is always saying that in the summer, you're supposed to be like jazzy and happy and super energized and all the things, but I feel like I get like a slump in that time of year. And so it's just interesting in terms of, we are humans, we are living this really deep sense of polarity. And when it's winter, we can understand and sort of step into that need, quote unquote, for our bodies to get the deep rest. When it's warmer, when it's sunnier, it can be harder for us to like appreciate the need that our bodies might need to anchor into a deep sense of rest and revitalization. But feels really, really powerful right now. If you are being called to lean into more rest, if you feel like you need more sleep, if you feel like you need to just give yourself more time to take it easy, I invite you to really listen to that call, because as we move through this year, One of the things that I think we're just going to see more and more is how much protecting our own energy, protecting your energy, finding ways through a daily practice, through working with spiritual mentors, through working with healers, finding ways that really support and nurture the needs that you have. And that's part of the big theme, right? The past few years, if you look at what we've moved through from an energetic perspective, 2020 was literally a call that all of us experienced, no matter where in the world we were, to go inward. We were literally stuck in our homes, and there is something about that idea, right? We have our physical home, and then we have our human body, who is the home to our spirit, to our soul, to that divine capacity that we all hold to live in the vibration of truth and mysticism and profundity. And it's like this really dynamic thing. And also starting in 2020, that idea of like, how are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to really take care of your home, of your sacred body? That call to really go inward and to essentially flush out, to shed light on the areas of our own experience that did not actually support us, that did not nurture us. How many people in 2020, right, ended up leaving their jobs, not just because of, sort of the circumstances that were unfolding, but a lot of people realized as part of that process of going so deeply inward in 2020 and 2021, that whatever it was that they had previously been doing actually didn't work for them. That there were things that you were being called, I was being called, right? I started my business in 2020. I had been told in prayer and meditation and by my guides from the time I was a little kid that there was going to be a point where I was going to get like a very clear sign that it was time for me to just go all in, start this business, that it was going to be really the time for me to like synthesize all of what I had studied over such a long period of time and start to share it with people in a bigger and bigger and bigger way. And so that I woke up one day in 2020 and I felt that. I knew that it was time for me to take all of these things that I had learned over decades and start to share them with people so that other people could be held in that energy, this energy that I channel, which my guides call all the good vibes. It's angelic, it's starseed, it's so, like, we can say starseed, galactic. It is also very earthly in a lot of ways. I am a bridge between so much of the divine truth of who you are. And that's what my work does, is it helps you to be held in this really sacred vibration of remembrance. My business is called We Are Here to Remember. So I am here to help you remember who you are. And it's so interesting because the longer I've done this work, the longer I've held space for you, for my clients, for myself to really anchor into these very unique ways of being. We all have our own vibration, right? I do a lot of work with sound healing. I channel light language. I do channeled singing. I work with crystal bowls. Those are all part of the way that I tune your frequency to the sacred song that you were born to sing. And I talked about this at the end of December. I did a group, if you haven't listened to it already, it's really amazing, but I did a round table with a bunch of other really clear channels, and we talked about what we saw unfolding for this year. And one of the things that my guides told me in the days leading up to that round table was that the theme of this year is to make your own music. And it was so interesting because the day that I heard those words, the theme of 2023 is to make your own music. I was sitting, and one of my cats, I have two cats, and one of them was sitting on my chest and he was purring. And I was thinking so much about how, we know, right? We think about like birds. Birds literally make their own music. Cats purr, they make their own music. Dogs bark, we sing. And so often, especially as humans, we judge our own voice. We judge the depth of beauty. Like, I've always been someone who I love karaoke. I love it when people sound like the seagull in The Little Mermaid and are like, wah, wah, wah. Like, I love it when things sound kooky and bad. I love it when things sound beautiful and glamorous and vibrant. I love all of it. And there was, for anyone who, yeah, you like that. Of course, Emily is a really brilliant sound healer herself, and she created a modality called clear vocal, which is so fucking amazing. And that is what this year is about leaning into the things that make you so special and so different, and finding a way to feel really safe in your human body, your home, right? Your physical human body, finding new ways that facilitate you sharing that idea of your own music. I've been saying it for years, but that way of there's that movie that I often mention, The Family Stone, where there's the scene where one of the Wilson brothers is saying to Sarah Jessica Parker's character, like, you are a total weirdo and you deny it, like, let your freak flag fly. How are you being called now, yesterday, 10 years ago, to share more of yourself with the world in a way that maybe feels really uncomfortable? Because that's what making your own music is about, is saying, you know what? I am different from other people in the way that I do this. I'm different from other people in the way that I do this. My needs are different. And really starting to understand that from a larger perspective, the call for this year, and we've been really leaning into this, right? This is like, we have been leaning into this as a collective. I've been talking about it for years, but it's getting amped up even more and more and more. I just saw an image of like flames literally lighting everyone on the planet up. So there is this way where, for all of us, if we are leaning into this concept of making your own music, of letting your freak flag fly, then we are also being called to make a lot of room for ourselves from an energetic perspective, right? The more energetic baggage that you have, the more unprocessed traumas from this and other lifetimes, the more ancestral things, the patterns, the blocks, as it were, to you leaning into a deep level of self-trust, it makes it hard for you to really anchor into trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting the guidance that we all have. We all have robust teams of galactic support, of ancestors from this and other lifetimes. The animals, the fairies, the angels, the elements, there are so many dynamic, really powerful energies that work with and for us. I think one of the big ironies, right, of being a human, and I have certainly mentioned this before, but it's coming through to share it right now, is that we can feel really lonely when we're humans. But the irony is that we are never alone. That's actually one of the hot, potent truths of being a human, is we often feel lonely, right? We have this sense that we can feel this profound spiritual disconnection. We can feel really disconnected from other people. We can feel really different and misunderstood and just really fucking lonely. But at the end of the day, we're actually we're not alone. We have so many different energies that are moving with and for us, that are holding space for us. Everyone alive has what amounts to a cosmic team of cheerleaders, right? Your great grandma, your great 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 grandma, your aunt from 500 generations ago, your future self, the angels, the fairies, all of these different really dynamic energies that are actually moving with and for us, that are holding space for you to remember who you are. And so this year, again, if you think of that frequency, the call that you are being made to engage in is to say, all right, for me to be able to make my own music, for me to be able to trust myself, for me to be able, hi Nadia, oh my gosh, I was just I've been watching your stories and I have just been literally so jazzed by them. Oh, Fuck, so good. Anyway, what an amazing group of people. Emily, oh, your whole body is responding to this. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad this is what you needed. And remembering that you have this robust team of galactic support, right? And so this is, I often talk about that idea that we have this energetic bag of rocks that we're carrying around with us. Doesn't matter what you've experienced in this lifetime. It doesn't matter if you've experienced big T trauma, little T trauma, all of it. The thing about being a human, another great irony of being human, is that whatever you've experienced feels really fucking heavy to you, right? So no matter what it is that you're processing, no matter what it is that you're being called to release right now, give yourself, it's like a delicate dance that we need to engage in right now. All right. So there's like, on the one hand, we want to be so gentle with ourselves. We want to just give ourselves all the nourishment and all of the love and the support and the time and the space, you know, extra naps, more water, just like whatever the thing is about you that you're being called, if you're being called to learn a new language, to get to up your game, like whatever ways it is that you're being called to take care of yourself, it's really important to listen to those things. And then there's this other way too, where we're also being called to disengage, disentangle, release a new, bigger, brighter level of our own BS. Because every time you can clear every little bit of trauma, of drama, of karma, of pain that you can clear from your current experience, the more room it makes for you to anchor into the magic of your own music, of your own song. Every single person alive on the planet came here to hold a very specific frequency, a very specific song. We all came here to do something different. And maybe, you know, there's someone else who does something that's similar to you, or has you, like we all, of course, have people who move in a way that is similar to us. But there's something about you, your song. What is the music you're being called to make? Because it is really time. Any ways that you have been avoiding anchoring into the truth of who you are because you were afraid of being judged as too weird, too different, too much of an outsider, right? If we think of that idea of like a square peg in a round hole, we all do it. We all have things about ourselves that we feel scared to admit, things that we're scared to share with other people because we're afraid that we're going to be judged. And this is the year to let all of that go. Because the more you can stop judging yourself, the more you can make room to be powerfully who you are, to share your message. If you are an entrepreneur, right, there's something special that you were born to share. The more that you can anchor into just like totally being yourself, whatever that means, in your copy, in your messaging, in the way that you live in your physical body, whether you are or not an entrepreneur, right? This is like also just for everyone. We are all really being called to say, all right, this is the thing about me. This is how I want to show up. And it doesn't matter to me, not that you don't love your family, not that you don't love your community, not that you don't love this planet, but there's no longer time for any of us to acquiesce to anybody else's vision of who we need to be. There's just simply not time. Time is accelerating rapidly right now. We are moving through a really, really, really big reset in terms of the way we've been doing this for years. This has been shifting. When the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, that idea of like the end times was really about the end of time as we know it from a human perspective. We have been moving over the past decade into this very accelerated relationship, what my guides call divine time, right? We need time from a human perspective so that we can get to our appointment, so that we can be in the right place at the right time. But one of the things about my life that I've always really done, and I laugh as I say it because it's never made sense to anybody else, like my relationship to time has always been very much in that divine sense of time. And people have said it to me my whole life. You really do, you move in your own time. And that was, sort of a neg in a lot of ways often, but it was also an acknowledgement of the fact that other people were always very aware that I did really move to the beat of my own drum, right? Again, like the music metaphors, make your own music. And there are ways that I've been scared to share even more of who I am. Like, I think it's probably funny for a lot of people to be like, what could she possibly be holding back? Like, I'm like out there channeling light language on lives, doing all kinds of wacky, weird stuff all the time. Like, I am definitely really myself in a lot of ways, but there are things that I have been scared, whatever, uncomfortable, whatever the thing is. There are some cool things that are going to unfold for me this year as I anchor even more and more and more into sharing the truth of my own music. So just that is the theme. This year, make your own music. This week, make your own music. Today, make your own music. How can you disengage from patterns of enmeshment, enabling yourself too, right? Like keeping yourself small to make anybody else feel comfortable. And it requires a lot of us. It requires us to forgive ourselves. It requires us to transmute our shame. It requires us to look at the ways that we have held onto grief. One of the things that I know my work really does for people is that it holds space for you to process grief in a really dynamic, very, very fast way. And when you do that, when you lean into processing your grief, when you realize that there are things from your childhood, things from past lives, things from yesterday that you are carrying grief with you, if you can meet that grief, look it in the eye, feel it, no matter how icky it feels, and then let it go, it opens so much room for your own sacred song, for your resonance, for the music, for you to deeply attune to the magic of your own heart. So that is the big thing right now. Make your own music. Make your own music. What are you being called to share? What are you being called to learn? Part of my relationship, my wacky, very futuristic, lifelong relationship to time has been that I have taken a lot of risks on myself, a lot of risks on my own experience as a human. And they work, right? The more I lean into the intuitive hits that I get, the more that I actively engage in that idea of finely tuning my own vibration, of really radically sharing my own gifts and not worrying about what anybody thinks about me. Focusing on what I think about myself. Do I like what I'm bringing to the table? Do I like how I'm engaging in the world? I'm not perfect, right? I'm a human. None of us are ever in human form. We are both perfect and imperfect, right? We're going to have stuff that is messy. We're going to have struggles. We're going to have things that don't work beautifully. We're going to wake up some days and be like, nah, I am a grump today. Like, that is part of the human experience. But the more that we can engage in this level of self-trust, of not letting our fears, this is the other big thing that I was shown by my guides to get into, was how important it is when I work with people. I work with so many incredibly gifted people around the world. If you end up working with me, you are a visionary. You were born to do something magical and really different from any other frequency that exists. Talk about making your own music, right? And One of the things that I see that really differentiates the people who embody a level of success, both in terms of money, in terms of platform, in terms of just being able to create or manifest the things that you dream of, right? Most of the people that I work with have their own business, but not everybody does. But I see the power of manifestation in everyone I work with, right? Maybe you don't have your own business, but maybe you write down a list of what you want your new house that you're looking for to be. And then I see people literally call in down to every bullet point, the things, and that is part of this process. The more room you make in your life by clearing those old griefs, those old traumas, those old shames, you make room to be able to really create something new and beautiful and different for yourself. And the thing that I see that differentiates the people who succeed, who continue to up level, who continue to move forward in whatever wacky vision they are crafting for themselves and for the world. The thing that differentiates them is not that they somehow magically have no fear. It's that you don't allow your fears to take the wheel and navigate. You're still going to have the fears. You're still going to have the doubts. You're still going to be like, oh, this feels really sticky and uncomfortable. But are you going to let your fears stop you from crafting something beautiful for yourself and for the world? Or are you going to say, you know what? Thank you, fear, for shedding light on this thing that feels really uncomfortable. And no, thank you, good day. I am going to continue to move forward. And so I want to just really highlight that right now, because I think that there are a lot of people who feel like the fears, when you let your fears become the truth, when you let your fears basically weigh you down, drag you into the quicksand, if you will, of, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not innovative enough, I'm not creative enough, I'm not, I don't have enough of business magic, I don't understand money, I don't, blah, 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 like all of that narrative, right? The things that we worry about, all the things that we all have our own unique bag of baloney, right? Like the more we can say to those things, look at, like, I hear what you're laying down, and like, no, thank you. No, I'm not here for that. I am actually a visionary. I know that I have dreams. I have a vision of what I want to create. And I know that I have those things. I hold those whispers in my own heart of something that I want to create, because that's what I was born to do. With love, right? With love, but with a high level of fortitude of saying, you know what, I'm actually not going to let you take command of my vehicle. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to keep on doing whatever it is that I can do in big and small ways to honor the whispers of my own heart, to listen to the intuitive hits that I'm getting, to ask my future self to show me what I need to do right now to lean into expanding in a big and a powerful and a dynamic way, so that I can make my own music, so that other people can hear that sacred song, so that they can be inspired by it, so that they can remember, oh, look at that person over there letting their freak flag fly. How am I staying small? How am I scared to share my magic and my gifts, right? Not that we're responsible for other people, but every time that you can boldly sit in your own magic, it creates a ripple through space and time. It changes what's possible for the planet. Wow, what a fucking gift. So just that's it. That's the big thing right now. Make your own music, sing your own song. So I am so happy with everyone who has joined us, and let me know how that resonates. Let me know also in the comments what you're being called right now. If there's anything clear that you're being called to share in a bigger way, to address anything, like go ahead and drop that in there. And I invite you to allow me to help hold space for you, to craft that vision, to make your music strong, to attune you to those whispers of your own heart in an even bigger, brighter, deeper way. I've been doing a thing for the past couple of months where at the beginning of the month, I sit with my guides and I have them show me basically like a session that will help foster the energy and help hold the vision for everyone in my community, which is you. And the session for now, for this window of time that we're in, is called an Akashic Heart activation session. They are so powerful. I go through, I am shown the blocks that are making it harder for you to sing your sacred song. And this is the thing, is when you work with me, it doesn't make a lot of sense from a logical perspective. But when I do this work for you, when I hold space for you to clear your energetic blocks, every time people make more money, they anchor into the frequency of money, magic, and miracles, because when you clear those blocks, when you lighten your energetic load, when you make a lot of room for you to sit in a sense of newness, when you clear your baggage, literally makes room for you to sit in that frequency of being able to make more money. And money is on everyone's mind right now, right? No matter where you are in the world, the quote unquote power of the dollar has changed. And so how can you, as someone who is of good heart, of good mind, of really powerful, if you are part of my world, you are a steward, right? You're a steward of the earth, you're a steward of the stars. How can we, as people of good conscience, of faith, of love, of trust, how can we use our capacity to create, to basically outcreate the stress, the fear, the worries, right? The more you can do that in your own life, the more, again, it creates a ripple through space and time. The more money you are able to make as an entrepreneur, as someone who is here to show up for the world in a bigger and bigger way, the more you're able to create that new job, create that new vision, create that new whatever it is that you're being called to do. The more you clear that baggage, you make room to be able to hold more abundance. And then you can use that abundance to literally vision craft the world that you want to see, as opposed to whatever mucky muck is going on out there right now, right? So book your Akashic Heart activation session. Those are going to be available through the end of this month. They're super fun. They're 60 minutes. And then I have a couple spots available right now for private mentorship. I have a new client package, which is really amazing and is super fun. And I also have a new group container, which is kicking off in February. It's called Gold Standard. It's about literally tuning into, again, that sacred frequency that is your own. How can you embody that idea of the gold standard in your own life? How can you share your gold, your magic, your gifts with the world and find a way to basically say F you to the icky systems that are really out of sync with all of us, with the animals, with the plants, and with the earth, tuning into that gold standard of your own heart. So if you're interested in jumping into Gold Standard, it's going to be amazing. I'm happy to tell you more about it. Reach out to me, but I love you so much. Oh, Nadia, yeah, you've been stepping into new space big time. Yeah, it is. It's really scary. I don't want to I don't want to like minimize that, right? Again, it is scary to be called to share more of yourself, to share words that maybe feel uncomfortable, to share really big ideas, to engage in philosophical and metaphysical relationships to the world, to really be intimate, to be vulnerable. It's really scary, but also it's so important. And I know you know that, and I really appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah. Allowing yourself to be excited by the fear, to be like, ooh, you know what? This is like, feels really, so I just got pushed off the cliff. But that is right. And that's kind of the energy right now, is like, oh, you've been being gently prodded, gently prodded, gently prodded. And any ways that you have not up leveled yourself right now, the cliff is here. All of our guides, the world, we are all being pushed to gracefully soar off the cliff. So I love you so much. Oh, I love you. I'm so, yeah, using, using your bologna as fertilizer and tending. I love that. Tending to your inspiration garden. That's fucking beautiful. I love that. And yeah, Therese, right? So much fear, of course. Like, this is the thing, is that's kind of, it's this complicated journey too. I know that I was just like, oh, I'm wrapping it up, but I want to say one more thing about fear. But it is the thing about fear, is that if we can just face it, like this is one of the other, I feel like the theme of today was in many ways ironies, the ironies of being human. One of the ironies of being human is that our fears can feel so real and they can paralyze us. But at the end of the day, certainly there are, immediate fears that we might experience as humans. I'm not minimizing those, but a lot of the fear that all of us experience is actually like old stuff that we haven't faced. And it's uncomfortable. It feels fucking real, right? It like feels like you might die from all of the fear that is like coming up and like kicking you, me, the world in the pants, as it were. But the more you can say, all right, look it, like that is a feeling. And I don't want to minimize the fact that that feeling came from somewhere, right? We have childhood traumas that we are all being like called to deconstruct. We have things that happened to us in other lifetimes where things were not safe for us, especially for all of us who are here to make our own music in a really bold way. But it's time to do the work, to show up. Yep, you're here for it. It's time to shift. And I love that that image of like, of strength, of physical power, of embodiment, of clearing our field, of your field of mine, of the things that no longer work for us, and really engaging in a new way of living. So anyway, I am so excited. Thank you all so much for sharing your time. If you catch the replay, go ahead and let me know how this resonates. And like I said, I have a lot of really cool, fun ways of working with me right now. And I see it over and over again. I hear the feedback from everyone who works with me about the massive things that they end up creating for themselves when they go all in on clearing all that energetic baggage. The room it makes for you to create something beautiful and new and different for yourself it just doesn't stop being amazing to hear, to get off a call with someone and find out that, we got off a call, we did a clearing relating to something like ancestral trauma, and then half an hour later someone reaches out to them and signs up for their highest price point container, right? I had someone sign up to work with me in the fall who was concerned about money. It felt like a real stretch for her to hire me, but she did it. She listened to herself. She anchored in, she took that leap of faith, and she ended up calling in $120,000 in sales that month. Now, certainly depending on where you are in your process, right? It may look different for you, but if wealth is about so much more, if wealth is about money and about abundance and about creating that internal gold standard, then you have to clear your traumas first before you can get to that point where the money starts to flow in a bigger way. But I see it with people's ability to be able to anchor into all kinds of things, new levels of health, new levels of clarity, calling in new partners, new homes, new opportunities, all so abundance is really dynamic, and it's about money, absolutely. And it's about so much more than that. So I am here to hold space for you. Let me know what I can do. If you want to talk more about working with me, please, by all means, reach out. And I love you. I love you so much. I love you. And I am really grateful for whatever it is that you are doing to boldly sing your own song and make your own music. I will talk to you soon. Bye.